had a couple of hard conversations this week with different people at different times during the week. And I was thinking about those conversations as I am out walking my dogs, and I wanted to address them. And this may go a little bit longer than my normal walk and talks. And at some point I may get on my soapbox, so I hope I'm not offensive. But I hope you will tuck this away and come back to it, because I think I do have a couple of nuggets to share that are beneficial. So my conversations this week with these different people dealt around grief and loss. And I'm not going to be a Debbie Downer here, but I do want to address a couple of things. And the first one is, I want to acknowledge that grief does not always accompany a death. Of course, if we lose someone we love, that's a profound and deep loss. It's physical, it is emotional, it is hard, and it's life-altering. And you know you're going to have to go through your stages of grief following that type of loss. But you can also lose other things that will bring on grief. And I wanted to acknowledge that you can lose a friendship. You can lose a relationship. You can lose your marriage through divorce, and that's like a death. You can lose a way of life, your expectation of kind of how you thought your life would be, or the plan you had for your life. You can lose your career. You can lose your dreams. Any of these losses can come by illness or an accident or just life circumstances. And they are profoundly painful, and they bring on grief. So I wanted to just acknowledge that, because if you are grieving any of those things, it's completely natural, and it's healthy to feel like you're going through the process of grief. So that was one thing that came up this week that I think we often forget, or we feel like we should brush that type of loss under the rug, and we can't. We need to process it. And now back to some other things I wanted to talk about grief, and these are kind of the things, maybe things not to do. So if you know someone who has suffered a loss and they are in a painful season, please don't tell them that their loved one or whoever died is in a better place. You know, the fact is that person may be in a better place, but that is not helping the person that's here on the ground, who can barely get out of their pajamas and brush their teeth every day. So try not to say that. Also, you may have had your own loss and your own story, and you can be empathetic or sympathetic, but try to refrain from telling the person you know how they feel, because you don't. Whatever your loss was and whatever your story was, it's going to be completely different from theirs. You don't have the same relationship. You don't have the same background and story that this person had. So telling them that you know how they feel doesn't really make them feel any better. And also along those lines, I keep saying along those lines, if you're talking with someone who has lost someone, unless they ask you for your experience and for your story, it is not about you. It is not a competition. So this is their time. It is not your time to compare your own to theirs. And the other thing I was thinking about that might be helpful is, I am from the South, and when there is any type of life event or death, we take food, and that's what we do. Lots of food, because we don't know what to do, and that's the one thing that we can do. But here is something that is so helpful. If you would wait 2 weeks or 2 months or some period of time to take that food when they are not already inundated with casseroles and their cupboards and refrigerators and freezers aren't being stuffed with all the food from all the well-meaning people. If you can wait to then take that dinner, it will be like a gift, and that person can probably process who brought it and enjoy it a lot more. And the same goes with flowers. Sending flowers is such a lovely and beautiful gesture, but if you could hold off a couple of weeks or a couple of months, because at the beginning, that person's house is filled with all the beautiful aromas and smells and fragrances of so many bouquets of flowers and plants all over their home. And it's a beautiful gesture, but it would be such a gift if it were later when everybody's kind of gone away and everything's died down. So those were 2 hints I was thinking about. And then, please, whatever you're doing, please don't tell the person, well, let me know what I can do. I'm sorry, that is trite and it's a cop-out. Because we know 99 times out of 100, that person is not gonna call you up and say, could you go to Publix and bring me some toilet paper? I'm really in need of toilet paper. Or, arugula for a salad. This is what would be much more helpful. Text that person and say, on Wednesday, I am bringing you dinner. Or on Friday, I'm coming to pick up your children and taking them to the pool for the day. Or on Thursday, I'm coming over to do all your laundry. So make it definitive. They don't have the mental capacity or the energy to think about the chore that they need to have done, to tell you to do, to help them, but also make you feel better about yourself. So do something definitive and don't put the burden on the person who just lost somebody. Gosh, I'm wearing this weighted breath, so I'm getting a little breathless and I'm getting a little excited talking about this, I think. So here's the other thing that I ask you please not to do. Please, whatever you do, don't ghost the person. It's so hurtful. If you have had a relationship with this person who is in a hard season, if you've gone to church with them, if you've had dinner with them, if your children have been in school together, whatever you do, please don't disappear. And if you see them, don't ignore the issue. Don't treat it like this elephant in the room. It's extremely hurtful. I know you don't know what to do. I know you don't know what to say. I know it's uncomfortable. But think about it. That bit of discomfort that you have is temporary, and it could bring the only joy and smile to that person that entire day for you just to acknowledge what they're going through and the loss. So I beg you, whatever you do, just don't ghost the person, please. So those are some things I was thinking about. It's hard. Life's hard, and I don't know if it's where I am in my life or I'm more in tune to it, but I feel like there's a lot of pain out there, and I feel like there's a lot of people hurting. And the best thing we can do on both sides is to be kind and show grace, because we're not going to do it perfectly. We're just not. We're human. But if we are kind and we show grace, then that's what we're put here to do. And that would be truly helpful to someone who's going through some type of season of loss. So that's all I have for today. I hope it's helpful, and I hope if you know someone that this also might help, you'll share it with them. I hope you have a great day.